It's time for an inside look at the most powerful motorsport on the planet. WFO Radio, NHRA Nitro.
Closing in on the weekend. That's right, a great week here on WFO NHRA Podcast. WFO Joe back with you. And we got Erica. That's right, Pro Stock, 50 years of Pro Stock. Super excited, as you know. I love the factory hot rods for a million reasons, and close racing is one of them. Erica Enders going to be on just seconds from now. Do want to mention the people who make it all possible. Of course, the Patreons, right? Those of you out there that support the show directly on WFO Radio, our Patreon page, patreon.com/WFO Radio. But also, RodakCoffeeandGrills.com, Marvin Rodak and his hot sauces and spice rubs, grilling tools. If you're down in Fort Worth, Texas, you should definitely swing by Rodak's. Get yourself an outdoor kitchen or grill or a ceramic barbecue. Got the best in the business. Marvin Rodak, great guy. MagicDryUS.com. The official organic absorbent of the NHRA. Total Seal Piston Rings, the leader in ring seal technology. Keith Jones and the guys over there at Total Seal doing great work. I got to take a tour of the facility, and I am so impressed. 800-874-2753. From bracket cars to Formula One, Total Seal fits the rings. They do air compressors, anything with a piston ring, they do it. Samtech.edu, the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology, 713-683-3817. Look, you're a young person, you're relatively young, you're listening to the podcast, you're looking for a career, you love engines, you love engine building, maybe you work in a shop and you're looking at taking the next step. Samtech.edu. Check them out. Tell them you heard about it on WFO Radio. And Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School. I am super stoked about my dragster adventure. You're definitely going to want to follow all the social media, theirs and ours, so you can watch me go through the course on March 27th. The Dragster Adventure, Gainesville, Florida. You want to race, with me in the Dragster Adventure, you give them a call, 866-480-7223. March 27th, Gainesville, Florida. There's only a couple of spots remaining, though, so you better make a move fast. I'm locked in, of course. They got the invite to me, and I was, thrilled and amazed. But if you can't go to Gainesville and be in this class, well, they go around the country, and you can drive a dragster, 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. Amazing runs, 130 in the quarter mile. I'm going to love it. You're going to love it. Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, the Dragster Adventure. Plus Drag Racing Edge magazine and EV3 Drag Racing for your mobile device. After it's all over, I'll tell you how you can get some free WFO Radio stickers by spending basically the cost of a stamp. All that coming up, but right now, let's hear from the champ. Joining us now, she won the Arizona Nationals. She is the reigning champ, and she joins us now, Erica Enders. Erica, welcome back.
Hey, Joe. Thanks for having me.
There you go. Big win. Took you a lot less time in 2020 than it did in 2019, and you are the points leader. In spite of Jeg's really strong start, you were able to wrestle that points lead away from him. Pretty good little weekend for you.
Yeah, not too bad. I mean, we've kind of come out swinging in 2020, finished the season strong, obviously, with Jeg's win in Pomona, and then his dominating performance in Pomona again at the Winter Nationals. But, for our entire things are headed in the right direction, and we've been running really well. So I'm proud of the whole team.
Yes, very much so, and you were very fired up after the victory. We're going to talk about you round by round, but I love how excited and happy you get. You were under the weather out there at the Winter Nationals. Came down with a bug or something. You weren't the only one. Beckman had a little something. There was just a little something, and I'm sure it was great to be unaffected at a race.
Yes, it was nice to be back in my normal form in Phoenix. Pomona was definitely a struggle. I guess it ended up being the flu, and I don't know if it's because I'm getting older, but I have never felt that bad in my entire life. It was terrible, but I was bummed because we had the whole off season to get sick, right? And of course it came about Saturday and Sunday at Pomona, but it is what it is. We were able to get a win out there for Elite with Jag and then move on to Phoenix. So yes, felt better, ran better. Just an all-around great weekend. All
right, let's get into your round by round, and then I want to ask you some questions about methodology on the season and all of that. 52 career final rounds, by the way. You're 26 and 26. That is interesting in that, 50 final rounds is a big, big number.
It is. It sounds like a lot. It's 16 years of pro stock action, and the first 7 years, I think, only included a couple of those final rounds. So it was a bleak. But, once I teamed back up with Victor in 2011, ran with him through 12 and 13, and then obviously now with Elite Motorsports, we just scored our other for me.
How many
this
is that?
weekend. So
Your third? Say that
20,
again. You dropped out.
I'm sorry, 20 wins with Elite Motorsports for me. So pretty cool.
Wow, that is great. Well, you got to make hay while the sun is shining. Not that I know anything about that, but I've certainly heard that. And this is a year to make hay, right? Like you and Jeg, when the performance advantage comes for whatever reason, and certainly you guys know how hard you are working, that's when you got to get after it. And you guys have both already scored here in 2020. Let's talk a little bit about the round by round, whereas Jeg has to go up against Marty first round. Jeg, number one qualifier. Something big happened and you were number two, in qualifying that I thought was interesting. I wanted to get an interview with Rick Jones. Didn't work out just because of the timing of our ladders and that kind of stuff. But when you broke the streak that Jeg had of being low of the round every round of the season, Rick was trash talking Ricky, and it was great. It was so much fun. You know, father and son, obviously, helping each other. But he's like, I got him. And it was fun. And when I saw that kind of emotion and feeling coming out of the team, I thought, this team's going to be tough to beat this year.
Well, thank you, and I think we will be tough to beat, but it's really a unique atmosphere that we all have to work at. At Elite Motorsports, all of our crew chiefs work in the same lounge. They all share data, but they all obviously want to rip each other's throats out. So it's really fun to see, father and son battling it out, and the fun crap talking that goes on a little bit behind the scenes, but sometimes in front of the TV camera. But when we made that run, we knew we had turned a corner. We struggled in Pomona with my car, used some of the data from Jeg that we shared with him at the end of last year. So kind of just go back and forth. And our cars have to be set up a little bit differently because Jeg and I, we weigh different. Our engines weigh different amounts. So we have to treat each car as an individual, but at the same time where we do share some data. So for us to make that run, we only outran them by a couple of thousandths, but it was definitely fun for the red car team.
Yeah, very good. All right, so first round, you got to go up against Fernando Quadra Jr., and you're 032, and you've told us about your clutch pedal and the way you're able to roll out the reaction times. No need to push it as a number 2 qualifier going up against number 15 when you've got the field covered by a couple of hundredths of a second. So a nice 032 gets you to the next round of racing. That 53.2, a huge run right there. And then second round against Chris McGahey. I know there's a rivalry there, a rivalry we all like and appreciate. He loves to beat you. You love to beat Elite loves to beat him. That's great. You guys didn't get to race this time. It was a bizarre situation on the starting line. Alan said he spoke with Chris and that they had some sort of a wiring harness trip in the guard beam. And so that had to be weird to go through.
It was, and ironically, it happened to me in Pomona with Matt Hartford. I don't think he had anything dragging. He just didn't get in time. His car shut off. So 2 weeks in a row, I've had a competitor that's timed out. So, going up there with the mindset that you have to have, you mentioned my clutch pedal. I was set up to be 30 first round against Fernando. Sped up my pedal a little bit against Chris because, they can make good runs and he cuts good lights sometimes. So I knew we had to be on our A game, but going up there, I turned my pre-stage light on first and I was waiting for him to pre-stage. During that time, I saw his top bulb flicker twice. So I'm thinking something's dragging or hanging, his front end's low. I don't know what's going on. So I just was patient, let him turn his bulb on once it was solid. Then I just committed to going in. I staged first. And when I saw his stage bulb come on, I transferred my eyes to my side of the Christmas tree because that's how I have to cut a light. So I try to cut a light on his stage light deck on the throttle, and then my eyes go to my tree to wait for it to drop. So I'm on the 2-step, and 2 seconds in, I'm like, man, what's going on? So I look back up at his side of the tree, and I see his stage bulb has turned off. So I lift off the throttle, and then I see his red light drop. So then I deck my throttle again, and unclutch it. Obviously, crazy late, stupid reaction time. But there was a lot going on up there, and just wanted to be sure that I knew I had a great race car. We needed lane choice going into the semifinals, and I just wanted to do everything properly. So just deck it, be clean coming out on the clutch pedal and hit my shift. So we were able to do that, secure lane choice for the semis, but it was a little bit of craziness going on up there.
Absolutely. Well, it's so routine for everybody, even the fans watching. Like pre-stage, stage. For the most part, somebody maybe, double bulbs somebody or, who knows what happens. That throws it out of the routine. But when a moment like that happens where nothing is going on, it just confuses everybody because you just don't see it. And Chris thought it was the lights, and he gave us an interview that he thought it was lights. Turned out it was a wiring harness. But that was low of the event. So it didn't throw you off going down the racetrack. Evaluate that run in terms of, we always hear if you're 50 RPMs short, you hurt the run. And if you hit the rev limiter, you hurt the run. Was that a perfect run by you? 52.6, low of the round, low of the event, low of everything, getting down the racetrack?
It wasn't perfect, but it wasn't bad. I mean, I hit my shifts pretty well. Our setup was obviously really nice, and that was one of the rounds that the track was awesome, where I wasn't loose and skating around, spinning all the way down. So it was definitely a great run. And when you're on a single like that, all of your peers and competitors and stuff can hear if you make a mistake. So I was like, just be on your A game, you know what I mean? And we were able to. So my guys were super stoked about being able to run low of the event. And we just know we have a mean hot rod underneath us, and we just got to, walk to the light.
There it is. Semifinal, Jason Line, his final year, the Finish Line Tour. And Jason said his Winter Nationals wasn't really a great event, and he made it to the final round and got beat by Jeg. But still, now he's going to the semis. And KB, I don't know if they struggled. Jason's been getting down the racetrack. Greg's been having a tough time. It's just been they're on the edge, and I assume they're trying to catch up to you guys. So how'd you prep for the run against Jason?
Just pretty much the same as the run before. We definitely know what they're capable of, but they definitely are struggling. I'm sure once they figure it out, they'll be back in their typical championship form. But pro stock goes in cycles, and right now it's swinging our direction, and we're gonna hope to hang on to that for as long as we can. But I know what Jason's capable of. So going up there, I knew what we had to do. Having said that, I did not perform very well. Alex broke a U-joint on the run in front of me, and they had to tow him off the track. So we sat in the car for about 6 or 8 minutes, and just not typical game plan. And I don't know what the heck I was thinking up there, but it definitely wasn't about the Christmas tree. So almost gave that one away. Fortunate to have the 2,000 go our way again and make our way to the final. So again, the race car picked me up.
Yes, exactly. And I think that's the run where Courtney went running back to you to redo your sister handshake.
Yeah, I heard you were curious what intel she was going to share with me. And she's like, no, I was just giving our secret handshake. She's something else.
It was hysterical because Courtney is athletic. Everybody can see that. She is athletic. And the girl's got some speed herself. Like, she bolted back to you after looking at something on the starting line. I was like, well, what could that possibly be? So me in reporter mode, I asked Courtney, like, hey, what were you telling Erica? Like, what was the story? And she's like, no, I just wanted to redo our, sister, everyone's got their good luck thing. That's yours. And I guess she didn't feel like it took well enough the first time, so you guys got a second one in.
Yeah, we did. She, I wish I had a fraction of that girl's energy. She is wide open.
Yeah, me too. She is. She is wide open. No, really, she's impressed. I saw her do a handstand at Winter Nationals. She's obviously very strong. Got good upper body strength as well. Setting up the final round against Bo, who, I'm joking that he's got a win light switch because what a crazy day, and the win light kept coming on. First round, grenades and engine, you could practically feel it on the Richter scale. Smoke trailing, like just destroyed it. Wins the race on a red light by Val Smealan. Second round, Kenny Delco having a great start to the season. Kenny goes red. Bo wins. Semis, Alex destroys the U-joint. As you mentioned, Bo wins. And so you had to be a little concerned in the final round. I said that this is the example of the person who's running well versus the when it's your day guy. And you had identical lights, and you won out. Strong performance beat the fate's chosen driver in this given occasion. What were you thinking preparing for that run?
Well, I've been on that side before, and you said it perfectly. When it's your day, it's your day. You cannot mess that action up at all. So when we came back from our win against Jason in the semis, we put the car up on Projects. I shared the story earlier, but I told my guys, I'm like, if there's any question about anything, if anything's off, if we need to change something, just do it. And let's comb over everything, because today's a day where something stupid's going to happen. A 2-cent part's going to fail. We're going to leave something loose. So let's just be sure of everything and go up there and just get this win, because luck is a huge part of it. And he had one of those days, not taking anything from Bo, because he's an awesome driver. He's with a great team. They're really fast, but we needed to be sure to just stay on our game and not overlook anything. So that was kind of, I was a little bit joking around with the guys, but also pretty serious. I didn't want something stupid to happen and cost us a win, like we had all of those bad luck happenings at the beginning of 2019. So did all of that, went up there for the final round, and just knew I needed to be, solid and conservative on the tree, and we should be able to outrun our competitors if we get through the first 60 feet of the run. So when I unclutched the car, I let go, I felt clean on the tree and hit my shifts, and it just it ended up being awesome. And then seeing the time slip going 9:58 down low, stellar numbers, obviously, and then being able to run the ET that we ran in the finals, outrunning Bo 700ths of a second, which is huge. But just really proud of our whole operation. These guys have worked really, really hard. They don't take days off. Our off season was just stacked with work here at the shop, and it's awesome to be doing well right now.
Yes, and you win the race, score a victory, take over the points lead, and get a win in your championship title defense year. It's going to be very interesting to see. Now, earlier in the week on WFO, Alan Reinhart and I were speculating about something, and I believe we have discussed this on the show in your championship interview. Maybe not, though. And please elaborate on this as best as you can. I also understand that there are some, proprietary secrets. It's team, it's competition. Your competitors might be listening, but maybe not. Who knows? But the discussion about pro stock being a category where everything is super close, and we've got to this new area of pro stock where it's not so much about having an advantage as much as it is how you tune the car on race day and who gets off the starting line first. That's where we thought we were until you came out of the box the way you are, and Elite Motorsports is all of a sudden several hundredths of a second ahead of the whole field. And that's a different thing. You're going to drive differently. You're not going to go for 00 lights if you got the field covered by 3 Hun. Jeg's got you covered by a couple of Hun until this weekend, and then you guys both have got everybody else covered by 2 or 3. So it's just changing things. And where did that come from? Where does that come from? Of course, the answer is, we're working much harder. And I speculated a couple of things, like Rick and Ricky Jones build their own cars, and so they know their cars, and they've got something that nobody else has, and for a while it was working against them, and now it might be working for them. And then Alan threw out there about the acquisition of all the gray stuff, and that's a whole team's worth of intel that you guys brought in-house, and you were able to see what Tanner Gray and Gray Motorsports and that team was doing the previous season, where they nipped you guys for the championship, and that combining all of that is what we might be seeing right now. What can you tell us about that? And in particular, the things you've learned from the acquisitions of the equipment of the Gray team.
Okay. Well, we kind of have an inside joke starting from the beginning of your question about the RJ stuff. Ricky always says, pizza crap RJ car, because we went through that tough time that we've talked about before, where we switched equipment, ran a Haas car for a majority of the season until our new RJ cars were built. So yes, we've gone through those valleys, and we're back in, the equipment that we know. These guys obviously know their race cars that they build in-house. So I think it's a huge advantage. I've had the opportunity to drive every chassis that there is out there, and I'm not saying it because they're my guys, but it's like driving a Bentley compared to driving, a typical street car. So they do tremendous work, and they definitely have the upper hand on chassis setup because they know how it works. So yes, that's helpful. Another thing, the off-season work that went in at our shop, we're obviously teamed up with Carl Foltz. He does our intake manifolds and our cylinder heads. So we did some huge R&D work this winter on that stuff, found big power gains on the dyno. Obviously, we have to translate that to the racetrack, which when we tested, we did. So there's that. There's some stuff that we found. I don't want to say too much.
Don't.
That's the thing. We found a couple of things in different areas of the race car, but there was a rule change this year, or coming into 2020, where we're no longer allowed to run dumps on our shocks. So for those that don't know what dumps are, it goes on top of the shock, and you can change the actual ride height of your race car going down the racetrack. So once we get into high gear, everything's run on a timer and CO2. So we lowered the actual height of the race car. It gets lower to the racetrack, makes it more aerodynamic, and those were taken away from us. So shock package has essentially changed also. That I don't necessarily know if that worked to our advantage or not, but it is a change. So I'm not sure if any other teams are struggling with that. So there's a couple of those answers. Now I will touch on the gray stuff because I will defend our operation till the end of time. Yes, we acquired their equipment. We bought their entire operation, truck, trailer, race cars, engines, clutches, transmissions, everything that was in that trailer, basically loaded it up and brought it to our shop. So did we go through their motors? Absolutely. And I will tell you with 100% certainty, those engines are on the floor back in the race shop or in the engine shop for sale. They are not in our race cars. We are not running their equipment. Did we see what they're running? Absolutely. Was our package bad before that? Absolutely not. So I think we have great power. I don't think there's anything against learning new things, but their valve train, their setup, everything was completely different than ours, and what we have works for us.
Got it. Well, first of all, thank you for going there at all. And I know that the guys are probably listening to this, screaming at the radio or whatever they're listening on, like, don't say anything. But, it's interesting. And I think that it's a smart move. Like, I think that Richard made the smart play. Like, if you can learn, like, whatever it was, maybe it was worse, maybe it was better, like, who knows, whatever it was. But if you can learn, you got to do that. I think of the space race, right? Like us and the Russians trying to go to the moon. If you have the opportunity to take all of everything and learn from it and reverse engineer it and see what it is, why would you not do that?
Exactly. And they were a team that obviously had no budget. So they spared no expense. Their stuff was a lot rougher than ours, but I'll give you a small example. The rods that they ran in their car, normal people can't afford that stuff. So that's something that we couldn't do here. And our pistons and rod package and our valve train works fine for us. But it was interesting to see what they were doing.
Unobtainium, there's like some sort of space metal.
Yeah, straight from NASA. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. I don't want to share their information.
I get it.
Very expensive equipment.
That's great, and they are apparently for sale at your shop. So anyone who wants to buy it, know exactly what it is, can buy it. And if it's a WFO radio listener, please let me know. I would be very eager to know that we sold an engine here on the show. Now, I think that's great, and you did a good job. Let's focus on the shocks, right? That's a rules change that it hasn't really been widely publicized, but the existence of those shocks were. And a lot of people like me thought that, boy, that seems like an unnecessary expense, that some of the smaller teams, they got to buy shocks that are, lowering as the cars are going down the racetrack. I think Bruno did a nice piece on it last year or the year before. Is that a good move? Does it make it a little more affordable to have to worry about something like that?
Yes and no. Like, let's see if I can answer this. All right. So Penske and PRS, Precision Racing Suspension with Adam Lambert, they do our shocks for us. So we run inerters on the back of our car. Now those, like, base cost on those are just shy of $20,000. The dump edition is between $2,500 and $3,500 bucks. So not a huge expense in the whole grand scheme of things. So just pick a number in the middle. We're talking about $3,000. So everybody already had the equipment. So really all it's helping is the new blood coming into the class. They're not going to have to spend an extra $3,000. And that's not something that you have to keep buying. You have it. If it needs service, you send it back to Adam in Pennsylvania and he'll fix it up for you. But he owns the patent on that, and it's really cool technology. Like the piece that Bruno did, they used our race car. It was really awesome, and it's cool to see. Like, it's not something that if you're just watching on TV or from the grandstands, you really know about until, you guys inform the crowd. So it's cool. Not a huge expense, but it does save the new people money. The big expense is the inerters, and they talked about outlawing that. But then we have all of this really, really expensive equipment that's obsolete now. So we lobbied to not allow them to take our inerters away. So that was a interesting change. But I guess the idea behind it is to make the car more stable. Like, you're not taking it too far to the racetrack and creating less downforce. So where they would want to, throw a wicker bill at us or whatever else to make it more stable, so they took the dumps away.
Got it. Makes sense. Love it. Love knowing what's going on in the world of pro stock. And I love hearing you talk the technical side of it, too, because you got such a name as a driver. Some people, Courtney and I were having this conversation, some people think that, you're a driver, and that's not the case at all. You know about all of this. It's just that you get paid to drive. What about this, Door Slammer Nationals in Orlando? We spoke with Wes a couple of weeks ago on the show. That interview's in the archive. Fans of Door Slammer drag racing in Orlando, Florida, or anywhere within that region who wants to get a little taste of you guys before the Gator Nationals. This is going to be like a great tune-up for the Gator Nationals that's going to pay a whole lot of money. You got to be excited about that.
I am super stoked about it, and I am really proud of the effort that Wes and Richard and Mike Carpenter and JT and all the guys at Drag Illustrated put into putting this race together. Of course, we can't forget Ozzy, who owns Orlando. He's put up $50,000 also of his own money. So we've collected a little bit over $300,000 to pay out, and it is going to be epic. It's going to be awesome. Just Pro Stock and Pro Mod. I think Ozzy's added some additional Door Slammer cars, Top Sportsman, and some other cars like that that'll pay $10,000 to win. So it's going to be a cool event. I think there'll be a ton of Pro Stock and Pro Mod cars there. $75,000 to win in Pro Stock, $50,000 to win in Pro Mod, where the other money comes in is from the bottom up. We're paying $7,500 to qualify and $4,000 to the people that don't make the show. So just making it worth everybody's while to come out there and to compete for a large chunk of change, a cool trophy. C-Tech Cabinets has built some toolboxes to give away as well. They're the sponsor of the event. So it's going to be killer, and I hope a lot of people show up.
I agree. It's going to be great, and a tune-up for the Gator Nationals, the East Coast opener. Getting the East Coast going in the NHRA is a big deal. Give me a little Gator Nationals preview, as this is a very special race.
It is, and it sells out. It's on the East Coast, so Pro Stock fans they're just avid out there on the East Coast. So I'm excited to head back. I think I've run it up Gator Nationals 3 times. I've never won. So obviously top of my goal list for this year. Hopefully, coming off of some testing in Orlando before the Door Slammer Nationals, and then we're going to test again on Monday. I'm going to run a comp eliminator car in Gainesville as well, so we'll test that on Monday. So heading into the Gators, we should have all of our ducks in a row, hopefully. You never know, but hopefully, and we'll come out swinging. It'll be awesome. I think there's going to be a pretty stout entry list there. Bob Benz is going to run one of our cars, obviously the 6 cars that we already have, and I'll let them announce it, but we got another cool addition to the team for a couple of races that you'll be excited about. So he'll be racing there as well, and we should have 4 cars out there. It's going to be awesome.
Exactly. That is super cool. Having 19 or 20 has been exciting because the guys at the bottom of the field have to race against each other to qualify. And suddenly everything means something, and they're getting the experience of like, we just missed it. We got to try harder next time, or we made it. We won something. We qualified for the race. To have 22 or 23 or whatever it turns out to be, that's showing that Pro Stock is extremely healthy. Now, did you say you're going to run a comp eliminator car at Gainesville?
I am. I'm going to run Lee Sharp's car. It's a clutch car with a Liberty. So it should be fun. I've never raced comp eliminator before, so we're going to do some testing, like I mentioned, in Orlando. so I can get my feet wet in that and practice leaving off of the bottom ball with the clutch pedal will be interesting.
Erica, off the
I've
bottom.
done it before in other classes, but I'm excited. I love clutch cars.
Have you gone off the bottom with a Sportsman tree with ever? Has that happened?
Yeah. Of course, junior dragsters. I super common super gas race, which was pro tree with a trans brake button. But when I drove the Copo, I raced stock eliminator. So yes, bottom bulb.
Wow.
Brake.
Well, it's going to be fun to watch and good for Comp Eliminator, most importantly, that we got the reigning Pro Stock champ diving into comp because it's going to be fun and interesting. That, I think, is going to be great. Erica, thank you so much for coming on WFO Radio Podcast, sharing the ins and outs and answering various questions and all of that. Nice little birthday present you got for Richard Freeman on his birthday weekend. A big victory.
Yes, sir. We were. That was our goal heading in, knowing that it was his birthday on Sunday, was to bring back a Wally to Oklahoma, and we were able to do that. He said he didn't care what car won, but as long as one of ours did it would be good. So we checked that off the list and ended the weekend on a really, really high note, and certainly looking forward to heading to your neck of the woods. Yes, I am looking forward to it as well. Erica, thank you so much. Thanks for coming on the show. Congratulations on the win. All right, Joe. Thank you. Thank you, Erica. Erica Enders with us here on WFO Radio. And I really appreciate Erica being honest. You know, she doesn't have to tell us all that stuff. She could say, yeah, that's secret stuff. But I am just curious, and I think everybody knows that we all have curiosity about pro stock, and we want to know and learn. I think Richard Freeman, listen, he's this brash character, right? He's got the great quotes, like if the crickets had pistols, the birds would leave him alone or wouldn't mess with him. Interesting stuff. But he's a very savvy guy. And when there have been a couple of times where ego, could get in the way, and it hasn't. What? Let me go get that stuff. Let's debrief. Let's learn. Got a lot of respect for him. And, the man who saved pro stock, right? I don't know if that's too far from the truth. And I know Drag Illustrated has written some stories, and very interesting. I'm looking forward to the Orlando event. I will probably be watching the online feed. But we do have an interview in the archive with Wes Buck, who put it all together, along with Richard and Ozzy down at Orlando Speed World. And I think it's good for pro stock. It's good for pro stock, $7,500 just to qualify. I think that is great stuff. All right, everybody. WFO in the books. Now, an Ignition show is either in the archive or coming soon. At this point, I have no idea. But we definitely have to get together for Ignition. I got a bunch of great stories. I've seen a bunch of great movies. The Daytona 500, the Pennzoil 400. We're 2 races into our NASCAR season. The Fantasy League is rolling. It's all happening. So WFO is a lot more than just NHRA interviews. And you can check out the Ignition show. Whole lot of fun. Now, I did promise you access to WFO stickers for free. Here's how you do it. You got to fill out a self-addressed stamped envelope. Do you know what that is even? First of all, nobody writes letters anymore. They don't know how to write the address. Self-addressed, meaning you take an envelope and address it to yourself and put a stamp on it, and then put it in another envelope and address it to me. Castello Media /WFO Stickers, P.O. Box 848-353, Pembroke Pines, Florida, 33084. That is the zip. If you missed this, you can just hit the rewind button and hear it again, which is the amazing thing about podcasts. You can just hear it again. You take your self-addressed stamped envelope and you put it in the one that you're sending to me. I will open it, see your self-addressed stamped envelope to your address with a stamp already on it, and I'll just put the stickers in it and send it back to you. And that way I don't have to do any busy work, no filling out addresses, none of that stuff, no putting a stamp on it, but I send you the stickers. And then you fly the stickers, the round WFO radio stickers that hopefully you love. And also, if you're interested in WFO radio t-shirts, as so many people have been, they're in the Nitro Fish Racing trailer at the track. You can go to nitrofishracing.com and get them online. I love seeing the WFO stickers out there and the WFO shirts. It has been a great experience. In the archive, Steve Torrance, great interview. Tommy Johnson, great interview. Alan Reinhart, so informative. All kinds of interesting stuff. And plus Ignition and a whole menu of WFO radio listening. If we're close to the weekend, have a great weekend, everybody.
The Gator Nationals are the next race. I'm super excited about it, very fired up about it, and I will be there. In the meantime, be safe, have fun, and we'll see you next time on WFO.
This is WFO Radio.
I love WFO Radio.
Oh, yeah.
The views and opinions of the hosts, guests, or callers do not necessarily reflect that of the station ownership, advertisers, or agencies.
You're working in the shop, you've got spills, you've spilled oil, it's everywhere. What are you going to do? I know what you're going to do, but that's not the best way to do it. The best way to do it is to go to magicdryus.com and order the official organic absorbent of the National Hot Rod Association, Magic Dry. It's lighter, it absorbs more, it's better for the environment. It's made out of coconut. It's made in America. magicdryus.com. They've got spill kits that include everything you need for a regular, normal household spill, all the way up to a large industrial spill. We always say, if you've got a cat, get Cat Spot. If you've got a shop, if you've got a factory, if you've got a spill, call Magic Dry. That's magicdryus.com. Attention adrenaline junkies, Frank Hawley's Dragster Adventure is calling you. Rides available for the 2020 season. Go to frankhawley.com. They're coming to a track near you. It makes a great gift, and you know the holidays are coming, whether it be licensing for super comp, super gas, all the way up to top alcohol, they can do it. But if you're a drag racing fan and you've always imagined what it might be like to drive a dragster, to accelerate 0 to 60 in 3 seconds and run 10s in the quarter mile, give them a call. 866-480-7223, frankhawley.com, the Dragster Adventure, and tell them you heard it on WFO.
Start your education at full speed with the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology. Accelerate your career as a high-performance engine builder with classroom instruction and practical hands-on experience in the lab, on the dyno, and at the track. In addition to the block, head, and CNC programs, SAM now offers motorsport, EFI tuning, and an Associates of Applied Science degree. And SAM is a military-friendly school, approved to train veterans and other eligible persons under the GI Bill. Start your education at full speed. Go to samtech.edu today.
We're talking gourmet coffee, we're talking hot sauces, we're talking spice rubs, we're talking everything good at RodakCoffeeandGrills.com. Marvin Rodak, been doing it since the 70s, figured out that life is better with great coffee, and oh, he's so right. 817-924-6821. Call Marvin. He'll roast up some coffee fresh for you. Throw in some hot sauce, some spice rub, and you will be loving it. Hit him up, RodakCoffeeandGrills.com. Hey, engine builders, Total Seal piston rings are the leader in ring seal technology, and they go out of their way to help their customers and will make custom sets for any specific piston you might have. Customer service, top notch. Made in America? Absolutely. They're located in Phoenix, Arizona, and they've got everything it takes to develop the world's best piston rings. Give them a call at 800-874-2753 or go to TotalSeal.com.
Subscribe to WFO Radio on iTunes. Never miss a show. And don't forget to write a review. WFO.
This is WFO Radio.